It was early September 1804 when the Corps of Discovery with Lewis and Clark got to this part of South Dakota. It'd taken them 5 months to push their boats up the river. One thing that they talked about was how voracious the mosquitoes were. They actually had to put on pig fat, pig lard, and bear grease to try and fend off the mosquitoes. When Thomas Jefferson sent the Corps of Discovery west, one of the things he discussed with them was finding the woolly mammoth. They actually thought they still existed west of the Rockies. Hi, I'm Steve. I'm a photographer. For the past year, I've been living full-time in my RV, crisscrossing the country and documenting my trip as I go. I'm currently following the Lewis and Clark Trail through 9 states. Join me as I document the experiences, make some amazing pictures, and share it all with you along the way.
Do I look all right? Oh yes, my darling, you look wonderful tonight. So we go to the party.
So there's 3 types of boondocking. There's overnighting, which is just as you're traveling between locations, you stay overnight at a rest area or a truck stop or sometimes a big box store. There's undeveloped camping, which sometimes you have to pay for, and that's what I'm at now. This is free camping, but it's undeveloped. So that means there's no water, electricity, there's no resources here. So it's dry camping. And then there's dispersed, which is, camping out in the wild. And I'll do some of that as well as I'm traveling, because I enjoy that. It's essentially just going camping. You're just heading out into public land and setting up. So there's lots of apps to help you with getting information about where to camp. You just Google it, free camping. There's tons of websites, there's tons of information. And essentially what I suggest you do is, if you're going to go boondocking, do your research. Read reviews, see what kind of vehicle you can fit in, see what your comfort zone is. To me, there's 3 things I have to consider when I'm boondocking. There's safety, there's resource management, and then there's just comfort, relaxation. So managing resources, huge piece of this. Has to do with your comfort zone, like what you actually want to use and what you need to use, and also has to do with what you actually can carry with you. Water, food, gas, both gasoline and LP, and electricity. That's what it comes down to when you're talking about managing resources. I don't shower every day. It helps me save water and gas, I'm just telling you. So coming here, I knew I was going to be dry camping. No electricity, no water. There is a pit toilet, but I went in there. I don't want to go in there anymore. So I'm using my resources here. Every location is different. You just have to work with what's there. Be open to the possibilities. There are opportunities at every situation to explore and to experience and discover new facets of life. The nice thing about boondocking, though, is I'm stable for a little bit, so I can get things done. I can do basic maintenance on the RV. I can do some deep cleaning, get up and clean the solar panels, pull the bike off and check the chain. All these aspects of living this lifestyle does require maintenance, and having these downtimes is good for me to do that. Anything that has to do with boondocking, just like camping, just going off grid, or where you're leaving your home, you need to think about what your comfort zone is. Like, what do you actually want? What do you actually need? Do you need the hairdryer? Well, if you do, you got to plan for that. Do you need a blender? Well, if you do, you got to plan for that. That's all it is, just planning. Thinking about comfort when you're on the road, there's a lot of different facets to this. And, one of them is, do you feel safe? Another is, do you have all your needs met? And I think it's important to keep in mind that it really depends on where you are and what your expectations are. One person's comfort is different for another person. So you really have to have that internal dialogue with yourself. What do you really need and what do you really want? That's part of what excites me about the boondocking lifestyle and the RV lifestyle in general, is that every time I turn a corner, it's a new experience. Well, thinking in terms of safety, I think there's one obvious part, which is, are you feeling safe? Is it a safe place for you to be? You trust your instincts on that. When I was in my 20s, I did an internship in New York City, And the advice I got was trust your instincts. If you're walking somewhere, if you're going somewhere and you feel unsafe, leave. And I've kind of let that guide me in a lot of respects. So, trust yourself, trust your judgment. But again, do your research. The more you know about an area, the more you know about a place, the more comfortable you'll be. So safety is a couple different things. One is accessibility. Can you get your RV in and out? Can you safely get it in and out? What's the weather going to do? If you're on a really rugged dirt road and it's going to rain, that road might turn into mud and you could get stuck up to your axles. Another aspect of safety is, do you have cell coverage? A lot of people really want to have that connectivity. I totally get it. I need it because I'm posting videos and pictures all the time. So I definitely need that connectivity. Also, let people know where you're going to be. It's the same thing as when you go on a hike or go overnight camping somewhere, and it's just common sense. Let people know where you're going to be. You can put an alarm system in your RV if you like. Some people have improved locks. Basically there's tons of research, but for me, safety, the primary thing is, can I comfortably get in and out, and can I stay connected? So with food, you guys, you just figure out what you want to eat for the period of time that you're boondocking. I always bring extra just in case. Just that's the nature of who I am. I always have a bunch of dry goods that are just put away, so I have a few extra days. So I plan out my meals, and when I'm cooking, I'll only cook hot like once every other day. Now this is just the way I do it because I want to manage my resources. So I'll cook a big meal, say Monday, which will give me enough to eat it Tuesday for dinner, or maybe lunch, and maybe even Wednesday. Like last night, I made this huge thing, a big chicken stir fry. I had some of it for breakfast. I liked it. I have a freezer and refrigerator that runs off propane and electric. So as long as I've got LP propane in my tank and the solar running the electricity, I can go for probably 6 weeks running my refrigerator. I was talking about the water usage, and I started thinking about how much water do I actually use for doing certain things. So I put a pan in the sink and captured all the water that I use for doing dishes. And, it's about a gallon or a little less depending on the number of dishes. I started thinking, the toilet, how much water do I use in there? Okay, just kidding. I didn't do that. I had a gallon of water that I had filled up just as a backup for whatever reason, and I poured that in there, and it's about a half a gallon. So every time I flush, I use about a half gallon of water. That can help me determine how long I can actually stay out boondocking. If you have more people, multiply the number of people by number of flushes, and you get a number, and that will help you determine just how long you can stay on the road. If it's hot out, like it's supposed to get to 96 today, the ambient water temperature is plenty hot enough. I can do a quick shower with that. So let's talk about gas for a minute. There's two kinds of gas in here. There's propane, which runs my refrigerator, my heater, my water heater, and my stove. And then there's regular gasoline. Gasoline runs the truck and my generator. Propane goes, I can run the refrigerator for 6 weeks. It's not a big deal. If I'm using the water heater a lot, and if I'm using the house heater, if I'm really cold, then it goes through it a lot faster. I have a 55-gallon gas tank for gasoline, so I can run the generator for, 2 weeks off of that. Electricity. No, that was stupid, wasn't it? So when it comes to electricity, I have a whole bunch of redundancies built in. I actually have 4 charging systems in the RV. There's the alternator, which runs off the engine. I have the generator, which is built in, which can power everything, including my AC unit. Yes, I have an AC unit. I can plug in shore power, plug into the wall, and I also have solar. So I have 360 watts of solar panels on the roof, which charge my 2 AGM batteries, which give me enough power to do everything. I have no issues with power. You can see now that my batteries are at 100%. So now is when I'll start charging everything using the inverter. So it didn't come with a lot of alternative power options. So I added 12-volt plugs, and I added the inverter so that I could use the solar powers to charge up my devices. It's the little things that make the difference in boondocking. I try to park my RV so that either my window behind me or the door in front of me faces the sunrise. So every morning I get to greet the day.
Okay, you go 8-4, there's a sign from Lower Brew. You go to the city, Lower Brew, and there's a casino, but you gotta take a left. There'll be a junction. As this get into Lower Brew, the town.
Okay.
You take a left, you go up the hill, and then that's when you begin your journey. There'll be housing, and there'll
Awesome.
be a station up on top,
Okay.
and then you go on by it and you head towards Fort Pierre there.
Perfect.
Oh man, you go down right by the river, exactly by the river. You'll like that view over there, and you'll see our side.
God, mosquito in my ear. I don't even know what to say. Oh my God. Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, let's just start breaking it down. Let's just move to a different location. We'll start breaking it down. Anything